Not being able to fall asleep at night, this is more a cortisol issue. Stress hormones, they affect your ability to get good quality sleep at night. And when your stress hormones are spiked, women with PCOS, we struggle to bring them back down. And so that means when we do like really intense workouts, let's say like I used to do kickboxing at like 7 p.m. and then there was no way I could sleep at night. And I didn't realize that that was from the cortisol dysregulation.
And keep in mind too, like when you have bad sleep, it can actually affect your insulin sensitivity. Studies have actually shown one night of bad sleep will actually have an impact on how insulin resistant your body is the next day. So it's like a cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor said you got PCOS. Now go on, girl, just lose some weight. Till I took the symptoms into my own hands and reversed them naturally. So I became a dietitian to help my sisters feel the best they've ever felt. Take a step in my direction if you wanna prove them wrong and take control of yourself. Join a sister and a mister.
So the Sisterhood app gave me gastritis. I'm serious.
Well, it's helping women lose weight with PCOS. Sirak is here having gastritis.
No, I mean, in the month of December, we were getting really close to the launch of the app. And throughout the launch, there was like some bugs, some things that we were trying to fix with the developers. And let's just say like I wasn't being calm, cool, and collected because there was like too many issues happening. And like with the pressure of the app, like wanting it to be released, I ended up developing like these stomach issues. Like I had nausea, I couldn't eat, lost a little bit of weight, and then went to a doctor and she said I have gastritis.
Yes. I mean, it's not unusual for like periods in your life to be really stressful and you to kind of like drop the ball with managing stress. I feel like that's a normal thing that happens to anyone.
Just getting overwhelmed, right?
It's like even with PCOS, you can do a great job managing it all year long. But then there's going to be that 1 or 2 weeks or even a whole month where something happens and you just can't keep it together.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's normal. And I feel like we need to just embrace that and be like, okay, this is just a challenging moment. Next week we'll be fine. We're going to work through all the app bugs or like whatever was going on, which we did. And now everything's fine. Yeah,
everything is fine now as of yesterday. But no, good thing is though, with the gastritis, like everything's all cool. I don't want anyone to get worried.
That's fine.
Yeah, like 10 days ago, I started taking the over-the-counter medicine, Prolosec. And that basically like fixed everything. And like now I'm back to eating like an animal just to gain the weight back.
It's all fine. We're all good. It's all, you know what it is? It's because me and you, we made the app. We're not this big like corporation where like it's just like a team of people like doing whatever. Like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make it exactly what the sisters have said that they want over the years. And we want it to be perfect. And as soon as we pressed the green button and said, okay, people can enter, we were like, is it gonna be perfect? But the truth is it's not until you like work out the, you know, bugs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And just to be a little transparent, we just had some issues with the logging in, but it's all fixed. So for any Sisterhood members, let us know if you run into any issues. But right now you should be able to log in and do everything very smoothly.
We take our email inbox very seriously. When somebody says something, we like really, we're on top of it. We fix it. We don't just like brush anything under the rug.
Yeah.
Hence why Sirak has gastritis.
It's also crazy, like for anyone who's listening who has stress, I'm sure you already know this, but it's crazy how stress can affect you. You know, like, I never thought stress could affect me in such a way where my body like overproduces acid and causes like my stomach lining to like start burning, which is what gastritis is. So like it's kind of crazy. So for anyone who's going through stress, just be mindful of your body, how your body's feeling. If you're feeling pain, if you're feeling side effects, just, you know, like make a note of it. Go to a doctor. They could be, you know, complications from stress that happens that you just don't want to like ignore.
Sometimes you don't even realize it and you're living this like stressful lifestyle that you have accepted as your normal, but it's really like a stressful lifestyle. And like these things kind of like start happening to you and you're just like, whatever. And you kind of brush it under the rug, but you really have to pay attention to it and like understand your body and like what it's reacting to and really investigate it because, you know, the app is good now. So Sirak should be fine by a week. As
a result, I made my New Year resolution, meditating every single day. Like that's my New Year resolution. I have a task or a reminder on my phone every day, 10 a.m. It reminds me, do your meditation.
Right.
Alrighty. Well, on that note, let's talk about PCOS. So today we're going to talk about some of the early signs of PCOS. So if you're someone with PCOS who maybe hasn't been diagnosed yet, or you've been diagnosed, or maybe you're a parent or a friend of someone who you think may have PCOS, this is a great episode to kind of talk about the early signs. Before we get started though, let's start with our Q&A session. So we have our first question from Instagram, from Peace, Love, Tranquility, great name. To Talin, the question is it possible to have insulin resistance and have this issue, or is it something else causing my sleep cycle to be disrupted? And this is talking about not being able to fall asleep at night, this post.
So not being able to fall asleep at night doesn't necessarily have to do with insulin resistance. This is more a cortisol issue. So we just talked about stress, but stress hormones, they affect your ability to get good quality sleep at night. And when your stress hormones are spiked, women with PCOS, we struggle to bring them back down. And so that means when we do like really intense workouts, let's say like I used to do kickboxing at like 7 p.m. after my day was over. And then there was no way I could sleep at night. I was on that adrenaline rush. I couldn't bring it back down. I was shaking. And I didn't realize that was from the cortisol dysregulation. Then I got poor sleep. I was tired the next day, falling asleep in class, and so on. So cortisol regulation.
Yeah. And keep in mind too, like when you have bad sleep, it can actually affect your insulin sensitivity. Studies have actually shown 1 night of bad sleep will actually have an impact on how insulin resistant your body is the next day. So keep that in mind too. It's like a cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Alrighty, next question is about a workout video that we have on YouTube. So for anyone who's interested, if you go to YouTube, you can try out one of our workout videos at PCOS Weight Loss. The question is, what's the weight of the dumbbell? I want to bring this up because we get a lot of questions about what's the weight in that video, or what dumbbell are you using for this exercise? But the truth of it is, it's completely individual to each person. And here's why. Let's say you're going to do a set of squats. You're going to do a squat exercise and you're going to do 10 repetitions. Well, you shouldn't just do 10 repetitions really easily. It needs to be a struggle. You need to get to 10 barely. So that means you need to pick a weight that's heavy enough that makes it like 8, 9, and 10, like barely. But if you're able to do like 15 easily, then that means the weight is too light and you need to increase it. And the opposite if it's too heavy and you're not able to do 10. So keep that in mind for your weights for any exercise.
Yes. Aisha Isop says, what time of day should all of these be taken?
This is in reference to a post we had about the OvaFit supplements.
Yes. So I like to take mine in the mornings, especially because the multivitamin has vitamin D and vitamin B in it. And the vitamin, they give you energy.
B12 complex. Or
yeah.
Sorry, the B vitamins.
Exactly. So I would take it in the morning with breakfast. You know, CoQ10, it gives you energy as well.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
I mean, the OvaFit supplements, the Metabolism Plus, is meant to kickstart your metabolism.
Right.
So it's literally meant to kickstart your day. So imagine you start your day with a completely multivitamin designed for PCOS, so it's filling in all the gaps, plus the omega-3 fish oil, which has been shown to improve metabolism, plus the CoQ10, which has been shown to energize cells, and the curcumin to lower inflammation throughout the day so it doesn't lower your energy. Boom. Kaba kaba.
There you go.
All right.
So let's dive right into it. I really like this podcast episode because I have a lot of experience with these early signs of PCOS. We're going to go through them right now, and maybe you can reflect on a time when you had some of these symptoms and thought that it wasn't a big deal, but then like it actually turned out to be a big deal. And I'm not saying that if you have like one of these, you have PCOS, but I am saying that if you have like a lot of these, it's definitely something to consider. Like maybe this has to do with your PCOS, and your approach to healing it could be through a PCOS related route.
Yes, and keep in mind, to be diagnosed with PCOS, you need 2 out of the 3 following symptoms. So those are irregular periods, hyperandrogenism, and 3 ovarian cysts. However, these early signs can come as a result of these 3 symptoms. So even though those are the criteria, these are symptoms that come as a result.
Right. So let's dive into it. The first one is irregular periods.
Yeah, what we just talked about right now, yeah.
Yes. So the first early sign of PCOS is irregular periods. I will say that there is a little bit of like some mystery here, because when you start your period, it's never regular at that young age. It's going to take a few years to get your period to regulate. Obviously, right off the bat, when you have your first period, a lot of times it's not going to come every 28 days immediately. So a woman like needs some time to get used to the period, or like your body to get used to it. With that being said, a lot of times at such a young age, we go to the gynecologist, we say our periods are irregular or we have cramps. The first thing they do is give birth control at such a young age. Like for me and my sister, we were offered it when we were 16. And that was super early because, you know, my sister ended up taking it till she was 30. That's 15 years of being on the pill because it was deemed as like the only solution for your irregular periods back then. And it was a sign that she had PCOS, but we didn't know. And also we could have waited to see if our periods were going to become regular before being offered that. So irregular periods is one.
Yes. And the next one is excess body hair or hair loss. So many times this is an imbalance of testosterone and estrogen, which means that your androgen levels are too high. So what we talked about earlier, one of the symptoms of PCOS or one of the signs of PCOS is excess male hormones or high androgenisms. I can never say that word. Pronouncing it.
Hyperandrogenism.
I just like mushed through it. I just pushed through it. I'm like hyperandrogenism. So that essentially causes like the excess body hair or hair loss.
Yeah, and sometimes at a young age we just think like, okay, well, I'm Armenian, so I have a mustache, you know? I'm serious. Like that's what we had a lot of leg hair, okay, like but then we had like mustache, chin hair, things like this, and okay, maybe it has to do with our ethnicity, but it clearly had to do with PCOS. Like by the time I was 18, I should have known that, you know what? Or actually not, I should have known. How would I have known?
Yeah,
Nobody was telling me.
It's normal for,
but
Armenian girls.
2020.
How would you know? Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes it's a bit excessive and it has to do with hyperandrogenism and that it's leading up to full-on PCOS later down the line.
Yeah. All right. And then the next one is infertility. So if you're struggling with infertility, just know that it is one of the most common symptoms of PCOS. However, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to get pregnant with PCOS. In many cases, the fertility is a bit more difficult, but that's due to like hormonal imbalances, like for example, insulin resistance or high testosterone, both of which make it hard to get pregnant. So when you understand your PCOS root cause, whether that's, insulin resistance or maybe you have really high testosterone levels,
adrenal fatigue, hypothyroid,
exactly.
Then, once you manage those things, you can get pregnant with PCOS. So don't worry. Did you hear about that sister who took Ovasitol and finally got her period after a year of not having one?
Incredible. I see those kinds of messages on Instagram a lot. How does that even happen?
Well, Ovasitol helps with healing insulin resistance, a common root issue that most PCOS sisters have. And by targeting insulin resistance, we're seeing sisters kick those crazy cravings, finally regulate their periods, ovulate, and improve their egg quality. Each packet of Ovasitol has a 40-to-1 ratio of myoinositol and D-chiroinositol. This ratio is similar to the ratio that should be found in the body, but with women like me who have PCOS, this ratio is often imbalanced. So, taking Ovasitol can be super effective in treating insulin resistance, starting from the root of the issue.
So awesome. It tastes like nothing, so just warn me when you put it in a cup so I don't drink it.
You got it, boo. Check out the link in the description to get 15% off your order. Okay, weight gain is the next sign.
Especially when it's like rapid weight gain out of nowhere and you haven't done anything differently.
Yeah. And when this happens at a young age, it's really common to be misunderstood. People think that you're just like eating secretly a lot.
Yeah, and you're like, you're lazy, you're not doing enough.
You're lazy, you're eating chips all day. It's just really unnecessary commentary that goes around this. And you know what the truth is? When you gain weight from hormonal issues, it's actually depressing and it makes you want to eat more. And in fact, you gained weight from the hormonal issues, eating more unhealthy food isn't helping. However, you might be mislabeled as like a person who just has poor eating habits instead of somebody who's struggling with hormonal imbalance. So it's tricky. But that definitely has happened to me. I did gain weight really quickly. I had no idea why. People were judging me. They were like, what happened to you? When I'd see people over the holidays or like on vacations and stuff. And yeah, it's really something. All right. But it has to do with PCOS. It has to do with maybe an early sign of insulin resistance, and something that you can actually manage if you we have lots of podcast episodes about insulin resistance. I don't want to go on a tangent about what you can do with that. I was going to
say, we have a recent episode about insulin resistance, but do all the tangents you want, babe.
Well, like at that young age, I was eating what I thought was healthy, but I didn't know that some of the foods I was eating was inflammatory. I was eating gluten, dairy, yogurt and cheese and bread, and like it was Greek yogurt. It was bread for like a turkey sandwich that was like healthy. I didn't realize that these things were affecting my inflammation and my body's ability to metabolize food because it was affecting my insulin resistance, and I gained weight. And so, people thought that I was like eating chips all day. I definitely wasn't. But changing your diet, of course, with supervision if you're super young, but it can make a really big difference and help you avoid this kind of like snowball effect that the weight gain can cause down the line, which, the insulin resistance leading to diabetes and so on.
Yes. And with that said too, going back to what Tyne said, for all these signs, we just want you to know that we have an episode for each single one if you want to learn more and dive into it. So we have a entire episode about getting your period back with PCOS. We have a bunch of episodes on facial hair as well as hair loss. We actually recently did a episode about fertility with a expert guest, including Dr. Jolene Brighton. As you know, we've done a lot of episodes about weight loss. So just look through our feed, and if you want to dive into any of these much further, just listen to those episodes.
Yes. All right. So the next one is high blood pressure and cholesterol. I have seen patients who have had high blood pressure and cholesterol at a young age. They have no idea why. And they're like, how could this be? I'm eating what healthy, not necessarily healthy for their PCOS, but generally healthy. And it does stem from insulin resistance.
Yeah.
So if you find that time after time you're told when you go to the doctor that your blood pressure and cholesterol is high, it might be a sign of insulin resistance. It might lead to PCOS down the line. It's definitely something you want to address because it can lead to type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So focus on insulin resistance if this is something you struggle with.
Yes, absolutely. Alrighty, the next sign is acne. Of course, this is something that a lot of people experience as they're, going through their teenager life and things like that. But if you are experiencing like acne through into your adult life, especially cystic acne, then this is a clear sign that you may have inflammation and a lot of hormonal you may have hormonal imbalances happening underneath.
Yeah, and it can lead to PCOS. A lot of times we're given Accutane as soon as we have cystic acne. Like the next thing that we're given is Accutane without question. But the question is, what about the inflammatory foods that we're eating that might be affecting and driving the cystic acne? Gluten, dairy, for example. And then, of course, our hormones, like how are our estrogen levels? Like where is this cystic acne coming from is the question. The answer isn't just simply Accutane. And I will also add that Accutane has plethora of side effects. And also when you have PCOS, even if you do Accutane, and even if you do laser treatments for your facial hair, it doesn't matter. If your hormones are imbalanced, it's going to come back. It's going to be really frustrating. And you're putting your body through a lot by doing Accutane. Treating the root of the issue is always the solution.
So the next sign is something that a lot of people can struggle with, but keep in mind that there is a reason for it. So that is fatigue and sleep issues. So a lot of PCOS women feel fatigue throughout the day, and it's usually due to insulin resistance. This is because the sugar, the glucose in your body doesn't turn to energy like it's supposed to. So therefore, it causes you to feel fatigued throughout the day. And then what happens? You end up going towards caffeine just like any other person, right? You want to go to caffeine, you want to get a boost of energy so you can work, so you can study, etc. However, it's like a crutch. What happens is you get caffeine, 30 minutes later you crash, caffeine, crash. It's like this vicious cycle.
That's right. All right. The next one is digestive issues. So what?
I just wanted to highlight this last part, which is the sleep issues. And just wanted to let sisters know that the sleep issues are usually, if you can't sleep at night, that usually has to do with a dysregulation of your melatonin and your cortisol hormone. So if you want to if you had that problem, get your labs checked for these specific hormones and see what the levels are throughout the day.
That's right. And next on the list of early signs of PCOS is digestive issues. I definitely struggled with digestive issues. I remember being bloated all the time. I really had a lot of issues with my digestion because of the inflammatory foods that I was eating without realizing. So I was having the gluten, the dairy, yogurt. I thought that it was going to be good for me, but it was really affecting my digestion. And I remember being so bloated. And it was like accepted as normal for me. Like it was just like, okay, I'm just like this. So that is definitely an early sign of chronic inflammation starting to happen.
Yes. Or it could be gastritis. All right. The last sign of early sign of PCOS, the last one is skin tags or darkened skin patches. So we get this question a lot about skin tags and how to get rid of them. And it's actually due to insulin resistance because it actually can produce skin tags. And it does come up for a lot of PCOS women. They could be small. They could be like a flexible flap of skin that raise off of the skin. Just keep in mind, they're not dangerous, but that they could be another sign of your PCOS.
Right. And insulin resistance.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, I would say I had pretty much all of these early signs of PCOS. Really?
Yeah, because they're all like interrelated to the core causes of PCOS, which is the three symptoms that we talked about. I mean, they're not the core causes, but they're the three main symptoms, right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely had every single one of these except the skin rashes, skin patches, and darkened skin. But yeah, they were early signs of PCOS just like kind of bubbling inside me before it totally burst.
Yeah. And knowing about these early signs can help you get a diagnosis faster and move quickly towards management. So if you're questioning it and you're listening to this episode and maybe you're like, wow, I have all of them, or maybe I have most of them, maybe it's the time to go to a doctor, go to multiple doctors, get your diagnosis from them, and just see what your next steps could be.
Or work with a naturopathic doctor if you feel that just diet and lifestyle changes aren't enough, and get that specialized support that you need, because you don't have to just deal with these symptoms, You can do something about it.
Exactly. So with that said, though, a perfect transition is to our sisters who are reversing their PCOS, losing weight, and showing PCOS who the boss is.
All right, first up is Kelly Lee. She says, I just bought a house. So with that, my goal is to use my kitchen and meal prep meals that will heal and take care of my body. I look forward to hopefully losing weight and finally feeling comfortable in my own skin. Also regulating my periods and getting rid of some of my chin hairs. Welcome,
Amazing,
Kelly.
Congrats on the house. And yes, we hope and we know all your goals and wishes will come to fruition. True. And we're always here to help you all the way through it. But about that house, though, for people who are wondering where we are since we came back from the traveling, we're living with our parents. That's right. We're living that sexy influencer life, living with our parents.
That's true. We are at my parents' house. Not going to lie, I kind of like it. It's going to take a lot for me to get out of here. I'm just kidding. We need to get a house.
Yeah, but we are looking for a new place. But as you all know, the world's crazy out there. We're just trying to find a stable time. But anyway, all right, our next win is from Catherine. She says, I love the new app. Thank you. I am exploring the recipes and meal planning. I'm wondering what is the best way to see the daily meals that you already have mapped out ahead of time so that I can grocery shop. Okay, I have a perfect response for this. So the sister is asking, what is the best way to see all of your meals so that you can make a grocery list? Well, if you go to the recipe section in the app and you can generate a shopping list based on the days you want to shop for. So let's say it's Sunday and you want to go grocery shopping for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the upcoming week. Well, in the app, you can go to the recipe section, select the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it will generate all the shopping lists for you for the meals that you're going to have that day. Boom, kabam.
Kabam. Then she says, so far the trackers are my favorite feature. Is it possible to add your own tracker? I like to also track my sugar intake.
we are working on more trackers.
We're on it, girl.
Yes.
But I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah. So far, we have about 9 different trackers, and each tracker is something you can like track. For example, like how much gluten have you had, or how much dairy have you had, spearmint tea, caffeine. But yeah, we're working on supplement trackers. For example, if you're taking inositol or something, we're going to work on those as well. So stay tuned.
Yes. Awesome. So now we have this great conversation in the sisterhood. Sisters were sharing their goals, their resolutions, and I kind of want to share it with you because I find it to be very inspiring.
Yeah. How about you read the first one, and then like we'll take turns reading the messages, because it's like a full-on conversation in the group.
Okay. Starsha says she's working on her mental health and physical health.
Raygon says to become fully gluten-free.
Tara says, my goal for 2023 is to be financially stable and take care of my health and my children, and bless God for another year.
Oh, that's a great New Year resolution. Angie says, my goal is to be consistent with my 3 weighted workouts a week and gluten and dairy free. I also want to focus on self-care and stress management. Love that. That is great.
You've come to the right place. And then Marissa says, I want to lose enough weight and get my PCOS under control so I can hopefully get pregnant. I've wanted to be a mom forever since I can remember.
Oh, that's amazing,
We
Marissa.
got you, girl.
Yes, we're
here
for
to
you.
support you.
Yes. And the conversation honestly keeps going on. So I think we should end it there. But like, this is why we love what the sisterhood has become. The Facebook group, what has become the largest community. People are talking to each other about their New Year resolutions, what worked for them last month to get their periods back, what worked for somebody else to get pregnant. Like, everybody's sharing their stories and their journey, because we all know like PCOS, there are so many approaches, and there's not enough like information or like stories out there. But when you have a community who is like literally telling you what they're doing that's working for them, and you can literally like ask some questions back and forth, like that's so priceless.
It really is. I remember going into Facebook groups to learn more about PCOS, but it was so negative. It was so overwhelming. Nobody had an answer for anything. It was just a lot of confusion and frustration. So I'm really glad that we have this community and everyone is contributing to cheering each other on, looking for solutions, following the method, and just like doing the best they can and sharing their goals and the things that aren't working out as well.
Exactly. It's honestly a big thank you for all the sisters in the Facebook group who has made it to what it is now. It's because of all of you that the Facebook group and the community is so strong. So thank you everybody for that. All right. So I guess that is today's episode. I hope this motivated you for the new year, along with our New Year resolution episode that we did a few weeks back. And yeah, if you have any questions about your PCOS, you know where to find us, and you know where to download the app. We'll put it into the description of this episode.
Yes. Thanks so much for listening, sisters. I'm so happy you love this podcast and are enjoying our beautiful voices and Sirak's stories about gastritis.
Exactly. I'll give you all an update next week, but until then, we love you. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come check out the Sisterhood. It's my monthly membership site where sisters just like you are learning how to move through the stages of PCOS. From stage 1, cold and alone at the doctor's office, to stage 5, nailing the PCOS lifestyle, gluten and dairy free. Get ready to finally feel in control of your body again.